supported it from the very outset.
Stephanie Flanders.
It does make it sound like a bad thing. If you look back, a lot of people have given you credit for warning about rising debt levels, and I can certainly say you were giving speeches about that in the last few years. You weren't warning about subprime, but you were warning about some of these things. But it's fair to say, looking back, you didn't have a single major proposal for dealing with that, did you? I mean, it was all talk, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't all talk. In relation to credit expansion and what was happening in the banking system, I argued from the year 2000 that the recommendations of the Cruikshank report, which are about tighter regulation of the banks, specifically banks, not the financial services sector of the whole, should have been followed through because they were making excess profits. I argued specifically that the demutualisation of building societies should have been stopped. It was, but belatedly.
You had no concrete proposals for cutting lending or cutting the rise in personal debt there?
I did. I specifically argued that asset prices, housing, should be included in measures of inflation, and so that the bubble would have anticipated. I argued for much tighter regulation of mortgage lending. I specifically, the Liberal Democrats followed through with me on this, that we had specific policies to deal with the problems we'd raised.
Mr Kibble, we need to move on. We're just a few seconds away from your final statements. Before we do, Alistair Darling, since many people say that regardless of the outcome of this election, you won't be Chancellor afterwards, could you just take this opportunity just to admit once and for all, so we don't have to ask this question again, that it was a mistake to have claimed to have ended boom and bust, correct?
Look, there's always going to be economic cycles. What I would say is that when Gordon Brown was Chancellor, we had the longest period of uninterrupted growth this country has ever seen.
But he shouldn't have said no more boom and bust, correct?
What we were trying to do was to eradicate the problems we've had in this country over successive governments, and actually 10 years of stability is not bad to start. We've got a job of work to do to get back there, but there you are.
Another failure on my part. OK, time now for our three parties to make their final pitches from where they are and in no more than 30 seconds as to why they should be Chancellor. It's in reverse order, so George Osborne, please begin.
Well, you've heard the arguments. Alistair Darling offers more of the same from a government that has failed the British people and where unemployment is still rising. And so the choice is between a hung parliament, which would mean economic paralysis and risk pushing this country back into recession, or a Conservative government with the ideas, the energy, the vision to get the British economy moving, to get the British economy working for everyone. And that is a choice that the British people are going to have to take in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you. Alistair Darling.
We've listened to each of us set out our stall. I think Vince's arguments today have frankly been flaky. George's, I think, are incredible. I remain, as I said at the start of this programme, optimistic, confident about the future of our country. Provided we stick to the course we've set, we can see this through, get jobs, prosperity returning, and I think this country has a lot to be proud of. There's a lot we can build on. There's a lot we can do together, provided we don't take risks. We continue to make the right judgment calls.
Thank you. And Vince Cable.
Key steps are these. We've got to get the economy going, job creation. That means lending by the banks that have been rescued by the taxpayer. We've got to have public spending discipline, and that means cuts, and we're spelling out what those are, and we've got to have fair taxation. I think a lot of people like what the Liberal Democrats have got to say. They should vote for us, and if they vote for Liberal Democrats, they will get Liberal Democrats.
Thank you very much. And that's all from our Chancellors Debate for today. My thanks to Vince Cable, Alistair Darling and George Osborne. These special Daily Politics Cabinet debates will be back on Monday at 2:15 when we'll be discussing the environment. Now, if you want to put a question to our politicians, then send it to us by visiting our debates website, where you can also find out more about all the debates and the party's policies. I'll be back for an hour of the Daily Politics tomorrow morning at 11:30 on BBC Two. But from Stephanie Flanders and myself, for now, bye-bye.